Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me just start by giving our lawless president and OMB director a little primer on the letter of the law, because this morning we learned they're plotting to try and rob furloughed federal workers of back pay at the end of this shutdown.
Where's the proof? You're right. You're reading something that you write, but you're not even showing any proof. I need some proof, seriously.
This flies in the face of the plain text of the law, which could not be more clear. President Trump should actually know this. He's caused more shutdowns than any other president, after all, and he signed the law that guaranteed their pay. It's not new, it's not surprising, and in fact, OPM guidance the administration actually issued last month reaffirmed furloughed employees will be paid. Trump doesn't get to change the rules and rob workers just because he's worried his shutdown is backfiring.
I'm sorry, but the fact that you keep saying that it's his shutdown when Democrats are the ones that are refusing to comply is the one is crazy. This is why you are just that damn dumb, Patty Murray. Like, seriously, when you actually listen to what you are saying, because Democrats are the one that's holding back, you are part of the problem. Listen to me closely. Listen to me closely, liberals. Listen to me. They are the ones that are shutting down this government. They are part of the problem. They are the problem. And keep this in mind. I'm a keep rubbing this in y'all face. Y'all voted for this dingbat.
Scaring and intimidated workers won't work. He's not
scared. Oh boy. This is let's be honest. The only reason why y'all shut this down because y'all trying to give money to the legal immigrants. Y'all are trying to give free health care to the legal immigrants. Y'all are literally, like, when you even think about it, this is money laundering at its highest.
Not fooling anyone. Now, Mr. President, I know
you're not fooling me.
Desperately want to ignore the looming healthcare crisis they caused. They've put their head in the sand for months. They have spun wild lies to try to bury the truth.
Let me tell you something. And I did some research, and I was actually heard this for someone in particular. I need to find that video, but from what I remember is that the healthcare crisis wasn't as bad until Barack Obama got into office. Believe it or not, from what I also heard was that the healthcare was much cheaper before Barack Obama got into office. Let that sink in.
And they are hoping people stop talking about it. But every day, that gets just harder, because every day another warning light goes off showing just how devastating it will be if Republicans refuse to extend the ACA tax credit and let people's premiums skyrocket. A new Kaiser Family Foundation poll found that 7 out of 10 families would not be able to afford their coverage if premiums double.
I don't believe it.
And 4 in 10 would likely to just go uninsured. That means that people will skip their basic care, they will skimp on their prescriptions, they will miss life-saving treatments, and the hard reality is people will die. People who otherwise would have sought the care they needed. To every Republican who thinks they can keep sitting on their hands and waiting this out, you need to understand this is not some distant crisis you can ignore. Premiums are being locked in right now. Letters are going out to families announcing shocking price increases this month. In Idaho, open enrollment actually starts next week. How is that not urgent? To every Republican who keeps trying to say, we can talk about this later, later is simply too late. And by the way, why wouldn't Republican leaders talk about this earlier? We've been asking to fix this for months and months and months. For all the talk of, oh, we can't discuss health care while government is shut down. Well, you didn't discuss it when government was open either.
Well, let me put it like this, and I'm gonna just completely be honest with y'all. The Medicare system, the Medicaid, Medicare, all that system, I think they need to redo it because this is, I think there's a lot of scamming going on. It's been a lot of scamming going on for decades now. Like it's not it's not it's pretty much an open like way of noticing this because believe it or not, and I've seen this firsthand often because my mom was on Medicaid. I was on Medicaid when I was growing up. And the problem was the longer these physicians make you wait a long time. And when you got to understand the time is money. So once you sign in, once you go through all this process, time is money. I used to have to wait for 45 minutes to an hour and a half at times. And keep this in mind, all that time counts. So, you have to realize physicians actually abuse this type of stuff as well. Not to mention these women who just pop babies like it's a freaking Coke machine. They abuse this system too, knowing that they don't care about these kids in the first place. So I really think there's a need a whole revamp, in my opinion. And these premiums are too damn expensive, been expensive in the first place. And this shouldn't have been happening. I don't even know why Obamacare exists.
Where have you been? And where are you right now, for that matter?
So why haven't you stopped it? Like seriously, you can comply, but you just choose to refuse because you want to look big and bad for your Democratic constituents and all that type. Bruh, chick, let me tell you something. You have enough money to be in the old phone home pimping out men right now. You have the money. You have the resources to go ahead to pimp out men right now. Because they ain't gonna do it. They don't have that money. You have more money than them. You could throw them dollars out there and they'll shake that ass for that cash. Like at this point, you could take your ass to the old folks' homes and get about 10 of those guys right there who be shaking that ass for that cash.
House Republicans are not even here. And they've not been here for 3 weeks. I cannot help but note the stark contrast between how little House Republicans seem to care about opening up the government and preventing massive health care hikes, and how much they cared about shoveling trillions in tax breaks at some of the richest people in the world earlier this year.
I'm sorry, but those tax breaks, it actually includes for the hardworking citizen too. But that's what you're not going to mention that. You're gonna keep on talking about the billionaires, but you forgot that this is one of the biggest tropes that you can ever hear in your entire life, because she is completely talking about the billionaires, but at the same time she's a millionaire. Millionaires like her will talk about attacking billionaires while continuously gaining millions at the same time. She is part of this problem. And taxpayers need to understand this. Democrats, you liberals need to understand this. She is not helping the situation. She's just trying to make herself look, hard, big, and bad and all that type of stuff without actually confessing the truth. She has no common sense. Now, if you're going to talk about the Republicans haven't been there for 3 weeks, it's because y'all haven't complied. I mean, you think I'm going to just sit my ass all day and wait for y'all little bitch asses to comply? I'm just going to go about my day, do what I got to do, focus on my people until you get your shit together. When are y'all gonna get your shit together? But y'all trying to please liberals, right? Yeah. Oh no, y'all trying to feed y'all pockets, but yet instead y'all still getting paid in the process. But She's not going to mention that, right?
Where is that urgency now? I mean, when the tax breaks for billionaires were set to expire in December, that was the same time as these healthcare credits expire.
Well, if they get rid of Obamacare, these tax credits from Obamacare, I guess we'll be in the clear. I don't want to deal with this Obama bullshit.
Republicans made that priority number one. You can bet they fast-tracked relief for the bigwigs and fat cats because heaven forbid billionaires like Trump have to worry about filling up their private jets.
You know, that's the funny part is actually, besides the point, Trump actually got his money not from the taxpayers. He became a millionaire without taxpayers. He pleased the consumers, made money. He pleased the consumers. He's a businessman. You're not a businesswoman. You're a politician. Business people understand the mindset of how to get rich without actually stealing from taxpayers. He doesn't even get paid. I mean, other than like every other politician get paid a pension, but he doesn't get paid a dime from the taxpayers.
But families worried about health care, Republican leaders refused to talk about it. They voted down efforts to save these tax credits 3 times before government funding was even in question. And they've spent the last few weeks saying that our insistence on preventing people's premiums from doubling is, quote, unreasonable, and even now the best Republicans can offer is later we can maybe, possibly talk about potentially doing something someday.
So you spent all this time making up all this shit without having any evidence whatsoever. This is your weapon.
It is pretty cold comfort to families who are staring down thousands upon thousands in higher health care costs next year. Those premium hikes, they aren't maybe happening someday.
Then why don't you explain why Washington State is in $14 billion budget deficit right now?
They are for real, and they are getting finalized right now. If the Republican leader would rather send us home for the weekend than have a serious conversation, if House Republicans want to keep hiding as far as they can from the negotiating table, if you're going to not talk with us, then I beg my colleagues, at least talk to your constituents. See what this healthcare crisis looks for them. Because here's the thing, Republicans seem especially keen to ignore. This is a problem where inaction will overwhelmingly hurt their own constituents.
Actually, it's hurting your constituents because you are the ones that's not complying to the situation at hand. Instead, y'all decided to go with the government shutdown. All they need is 5 more senators to actually comply to this, and it's good. They only have 3 Democratic senators that's actually up on board with actually stopping the government shutdown. You're part of the problem that's actually not complying to it. So maybe y'all need to actually comply for once and stop acting like a little bunch of bitches.
Newsflash for my colleagues. Over 3/4 of the families with health care coverage through the ACA marketplace are in red states. Did you?
Yeah, but the most budget deficits in blue cities and blue states. Yeah. And you know who one of the biggest money laundering schemes coming from? Like the biggest money laundering scheme when it comes to like healthcare to illegal immigrants? California. And you know who follows along with that? Oregon and Washington State. But hey, that's me saying that.
Do you know which 5 states will see the highest healthcare rate hikes next year? West Virginia, looking at a 387% rate hike for families that rely on ACA tax credits. Wyoming, 382%. Alaska, 346%. rate hike. Tennessee, 320%. Mississippi, 314%.
You know something? It's funny that she says that, but not a single one of those people actually step up here and actually talked about that. It is funny that she said that. All those places are red states, but not a single one of those freaking senators came up to here and actually said that. They should be coming up here. Matter of fact, I believe that every one of those senators, I think they are actually Republicans.
That is 5 red states where premiums are going to more than quadruple for families that rely on those tax credits. But you know what? Let's keep going. Let's do the next 5. These are states where the average premium will more than triple for families relying on the tax credits. Texas, 289% increase. South Carolina, 285%. Alabama, 284%. South Dakota, 235%. And North Dakota, 234%. So there you have it. The 10 states facing the biggest health care increases if Republicans refuse to act, all red states. And you know what? I can still go on. Premiums are going to more than double for families relying on the tax credits in states like Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, literally every other red state. So, Mr. President, the bottom line is a lot of people who are going to be hurt if Republicans refuse to save health care and they are represented by Republicans. At least they would be represented by Republicans, but our House colleagues are nowhere to be found. They have been gone for 3 weeks. So my message to Republican leaders.
And you know something? I was actually right. So when I was looking at the 2 act for Senator of Wyoming, we have John Barrasso and we got Cynthia Loomis, both are Republicans. And I've looked again at Mississippi. We have John Wicker and Cindy Hyde-Smith, who are both Republicans. I don't see them actually coming to the front of the congregation and actually saying it's a problem. Like, none of them mentioned that it is actually a problem whatsoever. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
You need to.
Because situation being, the only reason why y'all are doing this is to try to get extra money so y'all can launder to illegal immigrants. That is all y'all doing. That's all y'all doing.
Get serious about opening up the government and addressing the healthcare crisis before those premiums double for families across the country.
I don't think they're going to double. What's going to happen is y'all not going to get what y'all want, and y'all not going to be able to launder the money that y'all want to launder. That's what's going to happen.
You need to get serious now before those higher costs are locked in and before families back home decide they can't afford to stay covered. And you know, even if House Republicans want to hide from the negotiating table, they're not going to be able to hide from this issue, because if they stay home and refuse to come back to D.C. to hammer out a solution, the people they represent back home are going to make their voices heard about this.
They're going to be at home because y'all not complying. If they are at home, I doubt it. I really doubt that. Because no matter what, y'all are still going to get paid. Y'all are the ones that are preventing this, and while still getting paid, when you got freaking government, people, government workers who are not going to get paid. Y'all are the problem. I was going to put the video about, Hakeem Jeffries exposing this, the lie that y'all telling, but, she says enough right there.
They're going to say, hey, my monthly premium is going up by over $1,000, monthly premium. What are you doing about it?
The only people you probably have in your life is rich people.
They're going to say, hey, I'm going to lose my health care. What am I supposed to do? They're going to say, hey, if you care so much about opening the government like you say, if you care so much about lowering costs, why don't you get back and go to work? Mr. President, when that...
What kind of work you did to become a millionaire? How about you explain that? Matter of fact, I want to check, before I go, I want to check your let's just say, And I know it's probably incorrect, but I want to check how much you make.
Message breaks through to all the Republicans who are just trying to ignore it, as I think it is very clear it is beginning to. Here's another message for them. Democrats are still here. We are still at the table, and we are still ready to work together on a bipartisan deal to reopen the government and address this healthcare crisis. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
I think she's full of shit. Let me see. Senator Patty Murphy, Wade. Huh. I'm gonna have to find this out because if I find this out, this is gonna be. Huh. Network. Okay, let's just check this out right quick. Senator, bruh. No, y'all have no. That's crazy. So if you're not looking right now, Senator Patty Murphy made an estimate of almost $500,000 in stock market last month. I'm staying silent for a minute. She's worth, as of April 2025, she's worth over $3.4 million. I rest my case. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will leave the link to the description right down below, as well as this link as far as how much her network is. Y'all fucked up. Y'all voted for these Democrats, and now y'all paying the price.